Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about having the sun sign in Cancer and having an Aries Ascendant in a natal chart. Now, these energies are very strongly different, obviously. They're both cardinal signs, so they suggest activity, hurried to initiate things about enterprise and getting things uh, getting projects started rather quickly, but also having that impatience connected with it. And when I look at this combination, it's really like you're gonna be your Cancer sign is your inner is like your true self, so to speak, and the Aries ascendant can camouflage or I guess to some degree suppress or conceal a more sensitive type nature, more emotional, more timid or submissive or passive nature. Aries rising can come across as very aggressive, assertive, forthright, outspoken, one that will defend their principles and stand up for what they believe in a heartbeat. And don't get me wrong, Cancer, the sign Cancer can do that as well, but often it's more about home, standing up for the home, people in their more immediate circle, and sometimes in more quiet ways. And Cancer, on average, is more passive, of course, than Aries. But Aries does not. Rising does not hold back, and can make the sun sign Cancer emotions come out very strong and come out in a very strong and outspoken manner. Now, the sun sign represents our basic wants, while the rising sign or ascendant represents the manner in which one may attain those basic wants. Now, the Cancer Sun basic wants is connected with emotional security, home, family, and we'll look at this and and even things that are connect that can be nostalgic, acquiring things that can be perhaps seen as nostalgic later on, certain kinds of those kind of possessions. Now, in having Aries rising, the person with the Cancer Sun may attain these wants by being aggressive, by being assertive, by not holding back, by hurrying, maybe doing things very action oriented, doing things very quickly, by standing up for their principles and beliefs, uh, getting that perhaps through an Aries like type profession. Even this is possible. This can be done through um, maybe through some profession that requires maybe to be combative to a certain degree, or a certain amount of courage. I mean, even dealing with repos are one example, like repossessing vehicles because there's constant confrontation involved. It could be something connected with law enforcement, perhaps the military, some leadership or management position, some position of authority, perhaps even sports, or even in some isolated cases, maybe even, well, example, another thing could be firefighting, and something that requires a lot of courage and fortitude. And when I look at this, a lot of this depends on uh, you could say the aspects that, or I should say, the aspect that the Sun in Cancer makes to the Aries ascendant. Now, let's say the person with the Cancer Sun, Aries ascendant, let's say they have a square aspect. These signs are square and they're incompatible by sign. But if the person has the square aspect, this will intensify matters. Let's say that somebody has the Sun in Cancer at 4 degrees and an Aries ascendant or rising at 2 degrees. This would form a square aspect, which is adverse. And this could be, obviously, you have a conflict in the aspect, and it could indicate some kind of a little inner exasperation and tension, and it could also indicate that this person may feel some feelings of being misconstrued or misunderstood, whether they are cognizant or aware of these astrological placements or not. and because they could be projecting an outer side that is obviously vastly different than the inner self. Now, another example, let's say you could actually have an out of sign sextile aspect take place, and this could integrate the energies a little bit more positively. Let's say, for example, someone has the Cancer Sun at 1 degree and an Aries Ascendant at 29 degrees. This would form an out of sign sextile aspect, which could be auspicious, which is positive. And even though you have the conflicting energy by sign, you're going to have a positive aspect, and you may be able to blend this in a little bit better than typical Cancer Sun Aries Ascendant combination. Now, also you can have an out of sign trine aspect, which, for example, could take place if you have the Cancer Sun at 28 degrees and an Aries Ascendant, say, at 1 degree. And this could be auspicious as well, and you could have a little more of a positive blending and integration between the Sun sign and the Ascendant sign in this case. Now, also, it's important to look at the house placement of the Sun in Cancer, because even though the Ascendant often will dominate the personality and as far as the outer demeanor or the projection of self goes, the Sun in Cancer can still come out in these, it might come out a little bit, even if it's in a quiet way, come out in these, depending on the house that it's in, will figure maybe more prominently in that particular sector of life that the house represents. Now, for example, let's say the person with this combination had their Sun in Cancer in the 3rd house. You could see these the Cancer qualities, the emotional, perhaps the nurturing qualities, the sensitivity come out in matters connected with communication, and also perhaps with siblings if applicable. And even things may be connected with transportation, and especially local, maybe with their neighbors or in their general neighborhood. Now, let's say that the Sun in Cancer is in the 4th house. Well, that would further accentuate the Sun in Cancer energy, because the 4th house corresponds with the zodiac sign Cancer, and you could see this person's Cancer Sun energy come out a little bit stronger, as opposed to maybe being in say the 3rd or the 5th house, for example. Now, let's say that the Sun in Cancer is in the 5th house. Now, this person may exhibit their Cancer characteristics and tendencies strongly in matters connected with love, romance, with enjoyment, with their things of amusement, and even that nurturing, sensitive, emotional, clinging quality can come out with their children, if applicable, if they do have children. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for having a Cancer Sun and an Aries Ascendant in a natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about having the Sun in Cancer and a Taurus Ascendant in a natal chart. Hey, that's me. 2 things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.